Hello and welcome back to Let's Talk More on Monday. I'm your podcast host, Chloe, and this is the final episode of our Issue 9 Identity Contributor Chats. So I have been sitting down with some of the wonderful women who made Issue 9 happen and have been involved with more for a long time. So this is the last one before we wrap it up and we get into a new year. And next time we will do this series will be when issue 10 comes out. So thank you to the lovely ladies who have joined me today. Today we are talking about the piece Reclaiming Girlhood, which was also featured in issue 9 Identity. And I love this piece. I think it was a really good addition to the mag in that, a lot of identity is tied up in who we are and how we express ourselves with our gender. And I think that has changed and morphed, and a lot of doors have opened in the last 5 to 10 years in terms of how we can express that and how much more comfortable we've become in making our own choices around that sphere. But we are talking to a couple of wonderful women today about how they express their girlhood and how this piece came together. So welcome, Aubry and Hannah. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you guys and just have a little chat about what this piece means and, how we can open the door for women or female presenting people to feel more comfortable in these spaces and, open that door for how we can make it an even more welcoming space. So, I'll have you guys just go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourselves. Aubry, I will have you start. Just let us know who you are, what you do, and how you contributed to reclaiming girlhood.
Sure. So, I'm Aubry. I'm a local Indianapolis photographer. So I worked on the piece with Pratika, and we kind of put together like a little vision board and everything.
You were a creative director for this piece. I would say that was a good title for you, and you were the photographer. So how did that kind of all come together?
Yeah. So with Pratika we worked on a piece last year, so we kind of knew our workflow beforehand. And so Pratika sent me a mood board with it gave off kind of like almost next to like a barn or like the outside of like the green grass. So we were looking for something kind of more like a nature backdrop. And so I suggested like why not go to somewhere in Zionsville since I have a lot of green space. And so we ended up choosing one summer day, and she brought her friend with her, and we kind of just went from there. Whenever I do photo shoots, I kind of just see what happens, and we find locations on the spot. So not super planned, but maybe slightly. And then we just had a great time. I think I like to capture kind of genuine moments, more natural kind of things. So not super posed or that type. So that's kind of how we planned that out initially.
Yeah. I think it really came together well. I think the pictures are very almost like dreamy and ethereal, and they really capture like the innocence and simplicity that girlhood can represent. So I think that really comes across.
Thanks. So, yeah.
How about you, Hannah? Who are you and what do you do?
So hi, I'm Hannah, and this is Oswin. Hi.
Hi, bud.
So I am a past contributor for More Magazine, and I do have a style blog and Instagram that I kind of just showcase all of the feminine and girly things that I love.
Yeah.
So I wasn't directly involved with this piece, but I have written quite a few things about I would probably encompass as girlhood for the magazine and kind of done a little bit on that. So yeah.
Yeah, you really have a great online presence about how can I work my own feminine identity into my everyday life, and how can I make like this piece work in this outfit. And yeah, I love your content, and you're just so darn cute. So thank you for joining us. So I wanted to pose some questions for you guys, just kind of generally about, womanhood, expressing femininity. How do you say that you would express your girlhood, your femininity on a day-to-day basis? How do you find that happening?
So for me, it's really kind of just in my daily life. You know, you kind of go through those changes when you're a little kid to when you're an adult. And, when I was younger, I liked pink. I liked all things girly. And then as I got older and the world got a hold of me, I was like, no, I refuse to be girly.
Yeah, I feel like we all have
Yeah,
that rebellious phase that's like, actually, never wearing bows again.
yeah, yeah. And so I think just growing up, it's taken a lot to kind of let myself just dress girly and be girly or feminine. I'm in my home right now. As you can see, there's just a lot of pink. I have a pink couch. um, you know, plants, flowers, pretty picture frames. I really it took a lot to just make sure it wasn't something that society was putting on me. And that I liked these things because I like them. So I just kind of try to put it out there, in a way that's fun and, you know, it doesn't make me weak or meek or anything like that. It
Mhm.
makes me strong, even though it's girly.
Right. Absolutely. It's a interesting line to walk, especially figuring out like, is this something I actually like, or is this something I'm encouraged to like?
Mhm.
Yeah. But as Marie Kondo says, if it sparks joy.
Right.
I feel the same way with I mean my own form of reclaiming girlhood. When I was younger, of course, I would embrace all those things like, oh, I would want to wear princess dresses or things like that, and I don't know, watch the Barbie movies without feeling, oh no, is this
Barbie
like
movies.
okay? Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, of course, I shied away from that when, yeah, of course, like growing up, people would encourage you kind of to, oh yeah, if dressing girly, you're this type of person, right? Or yeah, like almost like stigmatizing it, that
Mhm.
and like focusing on only on appearances, but obviously like focusing on your focusing on your own personal style is I don't think there's anything superficial about that. And it's expressing yourself, and so I think yeah, through my fashion and also maybe through makeup, I've become a little bit more comfortable, kind of standing out and wearing, things that are like to maybe like cottagecore style, or maybe wearing something more chic, like just paying attention to that because even my mom and my sister, I didn't really grow up kind of learning how to do my own hair or maybe makeup from them. I kind of learned online. So yeah, I think it's just like finding your own way. Maybe if you don't have like, close role models, I guess you could find other sources to look into that. And yeah, that's kind of how I embraced that more on like the aesthetic side, and also just feeling more comfortable doing those things, and hanging with one of my friends is slightly more, I'd say, girly than me. And at first I was thinking, oh, like maybe I like them. I would want to be like that, but then I would just feel a little bit embarrassed. But then of course now I'm just whatever. I can be as girly as I want, and it doesn't really matter, right? So
Mhm.
Yeah. I think it also has a lot to do with, doing the softer things. And, I love being outdoors. I like sports. I like all those things. But you know what? Sometimes you just want to sit and embroider
Mhm. Well,
or sit and read a book. And while those, I wouldn't technically say they are girly things inherently, they were made to be that way, I guess. So
yeah.
anything that is gentle, I guess,
Mhm.
is a more feminine side to things. And, kind of just reclaiming that as it's cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm always drawn to people who read more. I just feel like we have better conversations. And Aubrey, you mentioned like learning how to do makeup like through YouTube or whatever. And for a long time, like I was watching those YouTube videos and like learning how to do my makeup with these women who were like these amazing makeup artists. But I feel like in the last few years, I have learned way more from the drag queens that I follow because, not only are they constantly doing their makeup, but like they go all out. They are like exaggerating their features, just inherent to the art form. And a lot of them also just seek out like the best practices, I want to say. Like how can I do this so that it lasts longer? How can I
Mhm.
what's the best product for doing this? So I love learning from them, and they've almost reclaimed makeup. Like, I see men just in my social circles, like, wearing foundation, wearing
Mhm.
mascara because it makes them feel good and they look really good doing it. So I love that we're like sharing these, feminine things that,
Mhm.
probably never should have been labeled that way, but they did get labeled that way. So now
Yeah.
we get to share them with the people who feel comfortable embracing those things. And I love that.
Yeah.
Um, on the other side of it, though, do you feel like you've ever felt judged or even unsafe for expressing your feminine side, or, putting that part of yourself forward in public spaces?
I would say yes, but also not really. I would say for me, it really hasn't been overt, I guess.
Mm.
It's just, it's kind of like in that New Girl episode where someone said to Jess, "You rock a lot of polka dots."
Well, yes.
um, so it's just kind of like little quips like that, like it's kind of like a why, or can I take you as seriously? I've always been in a corporate setting, um, I guess for like my 9 to 5 job. Um, and for a while, I kind of felt like, I had to wear I had to wear the black pencil skirt and the matching blazer and the matching like 6-inch stiletto patent heels.
Right. There's a
uh,
uniform.
yeah, where like it's almost like people feel more comfortable dealing with you if you're, I guess, yourself may not be as there.
Palatable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I I don't know. I guess I've always kind of grown up in like loving watching people dress themselves. So in that sense, so to me I just have kind of always done it, but it's hard when like you're in that corporate setting, it's your job, and people kind of make you want to tone it down. Um and then I was just kind of like, I don't really care. I think turning 30 helps.
Yeah. I mean, even if they have backhanded things to say, it's like, that's more a you problem than a me problem, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm like, just because it's not, a structured blazer and a pencil skirt, honestly, regardless of the color, like that doesn't mean I don't look professional. I'm dressed better than 90% of you anyway.
So true, Rusty.
Um, and then I guess, I don't know if I was ever necessarily like made fun of or ridiculed for, wanting to just sit outside and read or wanting to sit and scrapbook. I don't think a lot of people always got it, but I don't think I was necessarily like ridiculed for it. I was very lucky
Mhm.
um in that sense, thank goodness. Um but sometimes that is stuff you kind of like keep to yourself though,
Yeah.
cuz it's not necessarily like understood, I guess.
Yeah, for fear of backlash, right?
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't happen, there's always a chance, and it never feels good.
Yeah.
What's been your experience with that, Aubrey?
Uh, there have been times where I would feel a little bit more, I guess, uncomfortable, kind of being more feminine, and it's usually in kind of male-dominated spaces. So for example, I play video games, and in some of like the spheres, like it's strictly like mostly male, and it just feels like, okay, I don't want to stand out too much, so I would like try to fit in, like not, wear things, I don't know, like as um like I just wear plain things, right? Or just
Mm.
put my hair and then yeah, try to be unnoticeable as possible,
Mhm.
and not to gain any unwanted attention as well. So yeah, I really wish that was not the case in certain like things like that, and especially as someone who I was also in college, I was an economics major, and it was also somewhat male dominated. I did have like a few a few classmates, of course, were women as well, but yeah, there are just times when I'm thinking, oh, what's the stereotypical graduate and stuff is like, oh, people would think something else, right? But obviously, that's that's what we're here for. We're here to change that.
Mhm.
And but yeah, I guess those are maybe the few times where I felt like, okay, I can't really express this of myself the way I would want to in fear just of, I don't know, I guess maybe saying something or just standing out. But yeah, that's why I hope that, yeah, with more people and stuff talking about these issues and just allowing, and then as more people also flood those spaces, like things will change. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's the Elle Woods experience, right?
Mhm.
Like, just because I'm dressed head to toe in pink and I'm in your Harvard class, like, you should still be taking me seriously.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I do think there's a national trend of more women joining those economics and finance spaces, which is categorically a good thing because they've always been, 10 men to one woman. And I think those numbers are changing.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
glad for that. Just always a good thing to even the playing field. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Let's Talk More on Monday. But if you want to hear more from these ladies, please come over and join us on our Patreon. We're going to dig deeper with these two and talk a little bit more about how we can encourage other young women to express their femininity. And we're going to talk a little bit about the creative direction for this piece as well, because I want to pick Aubry's brain about some of her photography techniques. So if you're interested in that, come join us over on Patreon. Ladies, if people want to find you on socials, how can they find you? Websites, Instagrams, LinkedIn's?
So you can, my main party is on Instagram. It's hannah.janelle. Um, I don't know if that's going to be spelled out anywhere, but
Yeah, I'll put it in the show notes.
Sweet. um, and then you can also find my blog. The link is in my bio.
Yeah. Link in bio.
um, but I'm pretty, yeah. But those are my main pages.
How about you, Aubry?
Yeah, I'm active on Instagram at Aubry Visuals _Aubry _Visuals, and you can also find the link to my website in my bio as well. So
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you both so much for joining me and talking a little bit about what girlhood and femininity means to you. And like I said, make sure to catch us over on Patreon, where we're going to save a seat with these contributors. And thanks so much for listening. Let's talk more next Monday. Bye-bye.